Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What You See Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the King Tuts of the What You See Anime podcast will be reviewing the 2023 donghwa, Link Click Season 2. Let's meet today's time-traveling possessed vessels. First up, if you look hard enough in the picture of episode 6, you can see him disgruntled by the long line for his milk tea. We have Jay. Jay, how's it going?
I'll let you slide, but I'm famously known for not liking milk products. I'm the kind of like the opposite of Homelander in that sort of way. I'm like the foreigner from parts unknown.
Good to know. Next up, he was originally recruited by Zhaoxi, but his lack of basketball game caused him to talk to Guang instead. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Man, you don't know how mad I am that I am the wrong type of black. But yeah, I'm doing great.
Well, you're the right type of cat, I guess. Our first and only moderator tonight, we got Pat.
What's up, guys? How we doing tonight? Yeah, I guess we'll get right into it with our first impressions of Link Click Season 2. We watched the first one probably about a year ago or so, almost on the dot, I feel like.
It was October of last year, I believe.
Yeah, almost a year. Just totally not. 8 months ago, whatever. 10 months. Well, I can do math. But yeah, done by Land Studio. Obviously, like Pete said, aired in the summer. Looks like summer 2023 season, kind of like a little hybrid there. And yeah, made in China, not in Japan too. So it's a little bit of what do you call it, Pete? Again,
it's a donghwa.
Donghwa rather than an anime technically, but we love it all the same, I think. So yeah, well, let's get right into our first impressions. Miles, why don't you kick it off? Just kidding, Kat. Yeah, boo. No, you didn't like that one? No? Okay, well, I meant, Kat, why don't you kick us off and give us your first impressions, and would you recommend this show?
Yeah, so in the first, when we did the review of Link Click, the first season, I was not here because I didn't watch it. So for this, I had to binge the first season and then go through the second season. And I have to say, the transition from the first season to the second season was extremely jarring. Not in a bad way, just really really heavy, and it never let off the gas. This season has been heavy compared to the first one, and this is definitely a change in pace and a change in feeling for it. So I would absolutely recommend it. It's just be ready when you don't feel the same way about the second season as you did the first.
Fair enough. All right, Pete, what about you?
There's a lot of actual content in anime where I'll watch it one time and then I'll never go back and watch it again. So something like Violet Evergarden, where it affected me so much where I never want to lose that emotion, I will probably never rewatch that show. But there's also some content that's just so hard to stomach that I don't think I can process it again. And Link Click Season 2 has that. So I watched this when it was airing in 2023. And so when it came for my time to rewatch, I couldn't do it. The content that is shown in this season is so hard for me to stomach. I actually straight up refuse to watch it. So if I'm a little bit behind on some stuff and I forgot what I watched, please correct me. But nonetheless, this show is fucking incredible. This might be a preposterous statement, but I think Link Click has some of the best cliffhangers in anime period. How they handle going from episode to episode and just leaving you wanting more is just so well done. And I think that's a testament to how good the show is. And coming off the tails of the last episode into the first episode, I could not wait for this season. This season exceeded every expectation that I had. I loved it. I would absolutely recommend this.
They did a lot of cliffhangers almost every episode, I have to say. It was a lot for me, but I'm glad I watched it all at once rather than week to week. I would have been punching my monitor all the time with the cliffhangers. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and echo a lot of the previous statements. I think that, well, first of all, I'm assuming that if you're watching this review and going into it wondering if you should watch it or not, that you've already watched the previous season. So I think that if you're somebody who liked the previous season, then definitely watch it because it's more link click and it's great. Like more link click's always wonderful. Shout out the London arc we're gonna get eventually. The only thing I would say is that it's definitely a marked departure in tone in a lot of ways. Like you don't really have those sort of like fillery, I don't mean filler in a bad way here, but like not really related to like the main plot, like investigations that you had in the first season. It's much more focused of a season, in my opinion. And I think that that kind of is both like a blessing and a curse. Because while like the main plot is fantastic and very compelling, like Kat said, it doesn't let off the gas and it can kind of feel hard to find breathing room. Like there's moments when you watch this where you hold your breath the entire time and you don't like at the end when you finally hear the ending theme start, which is to tell you that a cliffhanger is about to occur. You finally gasp as you hear a Chinese rapper start whispering into your ear, "Dark Moon, Quiet Night," which is a banger, by the way.
The whole soundtrack is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So that's a very long-winded way of me saying yes. I definitely recommend this. If you're somebody who hasn't watched the first season and you're listening to this, first of all, just go watch our review of the first season. That was very good too. But I would even recommend this if you're somebody who hasn't seen the first season, which is to say, go watch the first season and then watch this. It is worth it to go through all 24 episodes of it. Ask Kat. Yeah. So
Yeah.
That's
definitely
right.
a recommendation for me.
Kat, you had to watch both seasons for this, didn't you? Yeah,
I said that at the beginning.
He said that
yeah.
in the intro.
That's
Yeah.
right. Yes.
Thank you for listening.
I got distracted.
That's how
trying to
now
tally some
Kat
extra
knows how
votes.
I feel every time you nominate Princess Principal, where I have to watch like 2 seasons and like 47 movies or some shit like that to catch up with where you guys are at.
Well, it's one season and one movie. But yes, fair enough. No, that's valid. I mean, it would that would be
Close
a lot.
enough.
That would
Close
be a
enough.
lot. Fair enough. And sorry, Kat, I got someone else voted that might have changed the votes for the
Ooh,
final tally
Ooh.
here. So who
Interesting.
knows? Yeah, I'm in charge of the votes.
stop
this
the
week.
count.
Stop the count. Not in. You know what? Just because you said that, I'm gonna ask more people to vote right now.
I'm gonna
You know,
add
no.
everyone in Discord.
Yeah, at everyone, as we always do in our Discord. But yeah, no. All right, to get back to where we were, I guess my thoughts, I would also recommend it if you like Link Click. The first season, yeah, again, why are you watching this if you haven't seen it yet? Go watch it, then watch our review of the first season, like Jay said, sick plug Jay, and then watch the second season, then listen to this again. Pick up right back here. We'll be waiting. I do agree though that one maybe not knock, but very different tone in this season. Like everyone else has said, it's there is no let up. There's a lot less of the like silly dialogue or the fun character interactions. And when you think about it, I believe this whole season took place within 18 hours,
Yeah, like
12 hours.
Yeah.
a day or two, maybe. Yeah.
Not even. I don't think. I think it was all one night, right? Because like it just from like a logistics standpoint, I think that would make maybe the first couple episodes were like a couple days, but then the final like 7 are all in one
Yeah,
night.
yeah,
So
yeah. Because like, there's definitely there's no way Lu Guang goes from getting stabbed to having an epic fight in like 18 hours or something. But yes, I know what you're saying.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, it's anime. Maybe.
He recovers. Yeah, I think he does. Kind of. I don't know. Again, I'd be surprised. It's less than a week overall for the whole episode or the whole season at most. So yeah, very pedal to the metal. No time left for anything else, which is too bad. But at the same time, the main story is very, very fascinating. I think it'll be a really good discussion that we'll have starting now, I think. So yeah, spoilers for the actual full show rather than the first few episodes of season 2 going forward. And let's get right into it. I mean, that cliffhanger that season 1 left us off with. I mean, what the hell happened? I forgot. Thank God this first episode starts with a recap, by the way, too, because it was like, oh, I remember where we are now. Like, I had forgotten how heavy of a cliffhanger that was. I mean, what's his name getting stabbed? Like,
Guang.
Lu Guang, again, I'm going to be doing that all episode just so we know. These names are too much for me. Paul getting stabbed? Like,
Paul.
Jesus, man. like, holy moly. Paul getting stabbed by Linda, of all people? Like, really? Like, oh my God. But no, actually, though, Lu Guang getting stabbed by a Xiaoling getting taken over or something along those lines, being mind controlled. We don't know really what happened. What were your guys' thoughts on how they handled that? Did it feel a little ass pulley that he lives? Like, what's like they're, I don't know, putting thoughts out there, thought stars out there. Who wants to go first?
So they pulled off the transition from the first season to the second season really well with the rug pull that he's still alive. Because I was at like it felt like a return to, I forget which episode it was in the first season, where like what's his face, the black haired dude was like right under the dude he was mother, like, and she was singing the same lullaby that he used to get sung when he was a child, like that. It kind of had that same feeling for me, especially with how it recapped some of the things about his experiences with Luke Wong. And I was genuinely really excited, but also really heartbroken that he was going to have to, basically, he was going to have to mature. And not to say that he didn't mature, but he was going to have to mature and basically deal with what was going on by himself. So I was preparing myself mentally for that. And then they pulled the rug out on us, and I was like, I'm glad, but at the same time, I wish you would have stuck to it a little bit, just because it might have felt a little bit more punchy, but I also understand narratively why you wouldn't want to kill off one of your main characters.
Yeah, I think if like later in the series, if Tianzi lived, that would be ass pulley to me. I think getting stabbed is pretty major, but in the essence of things, I think it's not as bad as getting shot in like the heart, like we see later.
Yeah, and he got like medical attention pretty immediately because the police were there. So, and they live in a city, so it's not like it's going to take a ton of time.
Yeah.
From what we understand too, it seems like they're relatively close to the hospital as well, based on travel time we see and whatnot.
Look at that link, like world building. But I guess ending season 1, we knew that there was still like an end boss. Like the mystery was still unsolved. So we knew that there was going to get more. So sort of how are we going to start building up towards the end boss of Link Click, and with Ling getting sort of possessed by whatever new powers that we have and then creating that conflict, I thought it was just like a great way to set up the next boss fight essentially in Link Click. And I just love how it was handled. I loved, sort of like how Ling was having sort of like crisis after the fact, even though like it wasn't her fault, but then she was going through the motions and she was super distressed about, killing, essentially thinking that she might have killed Lu Guang. And I just love the drama within it because it doesn't seem too forced while being in a supernatural style story. So everything about episode 1 from the previous season to me was just fantastically handled. And it's why I love Link Click, because I think everything just flows really well together.
Yeah, I agree with that. I also think, as someone who did a rewatch of Link, like season 2, I think that knowing what we know of the ending, it makes the like first few episodes with Lu Guang like hit even harder, knowing that that's like a future Lu Guang who's basically doing the, Homura thing from fucking
Madoka.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of twists, I know we're gonna get to that later, but holy fuck.
Yeah. So I think that adds like another layer of it for me, just seeing like how meticulously planned this is, which is like that's the mark of a good thriller / mystery story, which this is at its core. Is it's like a mystery / thriller.
100%.
It reminds me a lot of like the pacing of it, and the plot structure in a way reminds me of another show that I really enjoyed that came out, I believe it was this year or was it last year, Undead Murder Farce, where we had like the that was done a little bit quicker because it was all in one season up to where we got, but like the build up where it's like, you know, a whatever case to like or cases to build up our characters into a more serious plot.
Yep.
I think that's just kind of the mark of a good mystery story at this point, at least in the anime medium. And I guess I just kind of like I trust these writers to pull off whatever it is they're going to do at this point, basically. Like, I think that at the end of season 1 when we were reviewing it, like, that was kind of our big thing that we all had was, it's a good story, but how we rate it will depend on what comes after the first season. And I think that this season, even in just the first 3 episodes, like, with that whole series, like, it proved that they have a good handle on it and they're going to, you know, steer the ship in the right direction.
I agree. Yeah, no, you know, I threw that word out there like a asshole or whatever, like just to like start the discussion. I thought it was a bit much to just show the other guy dying and like have us think, oh my god, he's on the paddles, he's on the surgery, well, like that. That was a bit much for me. Like come on, man. But also like cool, it adds to the drama, so it's not that big of a deal. But like him surviving definitely made sense. You know, like you just can't tell the rest of this story without him either. So it makes sense for him to survive at the very minimum value, let alone from a narrative standpoint too. It makes more sense for him. So yeah, I thought him that I guess we can talk a little bit about that final reveal, which
You'll do that
went
now?
I don't know. I guess because we're just talking about the
I
shows.
think there's a few other things we could like. I think we should get the elephant out of the room a little bit in
Yeah.
terms
I think we
of
should
the
save it
thing
for
me and Pete
last.
were talking about. The abuse scenes in the flashbacks with Tian Li Tianjin and Li Tianxi.
Mhm.
That shit
Yeah.
was just I actually like I say I did a full watch through. I skipped those episodes entirely because it is a very graphic depiction and realistic depiction of like domestic abuse.
100%.
And
Yep.
like that is one thing I will say as far as recommendations go. If you're somebody who that is something that could trigger you, because I know a lot of people that sort of thing hits close to home, I would recommend like just as soon as it happens in the episode, like you feel the whiff of it, just skip it because it's going to be like the whole episode and the next one. And it was well done, don't get me wrong, but that's what makes it so hard to watch.
Exactly.
Is
Yeah.
that it was so well done.
There was a scene with their mother where after everything that has gone through, after all the abuse and everything like that, she's talking to Tianchi and she says, like, I'm not going to leave your father, but I'm also not going to leave you. And like that's such a real thing with like domestic violence, where like sometimes you feel like you can't escape, even though it's like the worst situation you can be in because of like your kids and all everything else that goes with it, with like money and housing and all that stuff. And I was just like, you know, there was a lot of like physical violence in this show, like especially with the abuse scenes. And it's like it was really tough to watch. That scene wrecked me because it's like that mom had. There's, I feel like, is there something she could have done? Yes, but I think like in the moments, like there's nothing she can do. Like it's a lose-lose situation. Like she is honestly thinking that this is the best route for her kids, and she's willing to sacrifice herself if it means that her kids will have a better life. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like you talk about when we talk about like domestic violence or something like that, it's like I think, at least in my mind, it's physical. That emotional side was just like next level shit. And you sort of see like after the fact that Tian Shen's just like, nah, fuck this shit. Like I'm taking things into my own hands, and some things like transcribe and everything like that. But like, man, it was so heavy the first time watching it. It's been almost a year since I've watched it, and I can't go back and watch those scenes. Even like episode like 11 and 12, there's like flashbacks, and it's very minor, like 30-second clips of it. That was hard for me. Watching full episodes of this was just like, it's so good, but at the same time, like I can't look at it. It's like an oncoming train. It's so hard to like. Oh, I guess that's the opposite, but like,
I was about to say,
yeah,
you would watch
the
it. Then,
opposite of an oncoming train. Man, it's so well done, and also just like it is a tone shift from the first season because like in the first season we had like slice of life Yuri, and in this we have like the exact opposite. But I thought it flowed well with the story that it's trying to tell. So I like it, but I don't like it at the same time. But
Yeah,
It's
like it's obviously meant to make you uncomfortable, and
Yes.
mission accomplished. Like
Yeah.
they definitely made me uncomfortable watching it.
I was just so invested in the story that I wasn't really. Obviously I was bothered by it in the sense of like it's hurt
Yeah,
to
no, I
watch, but
definitely get that.
I don't know. I wasn't as shook, I guess. It was more just like, oh my god, they're really showing this. Like it was like, oh my god, they are giving very detailed visuals, and it felt very like what's God Perfect Blue, like in terms of just like so instead of the in Perfect Blue, there's the sexual assault rape scene. Like that is much more like it's the same vein where it's like that is like the epitome of how to do it. In my opinion, tastefully. They did it very tastefully in the show, and it fit. It sucked, but it wasn't like fetishized or fantasized in any way. It was definitely dramatized a little bit, but that was the point. I thought it was really, really well done, and makes you see why someone like Lee Tanshin could snap like that too. Truly, like I don't know. I guess if you have that superpower too, it kind of makes it a little easier, to be a Homelander. But but yeah. Sorry, Kat. Go ahead.
It was rough. It was rough to go from season 1 to season 2 and watching that all the way through. Yeah, it does flow very well into the second season. I can actually see where like it starts to get darker in the first season, especially closer to the end, where we're dealing with like child abduction and then like him black hair like messing with the timeline and then getting into the second season. But it doesn't make it any easier to watch. Like it's one of those shows. Like I agree with you, Pete. Like I'm probably never going back to this season, mainly because of that, because of the amount of emotional intensity in this show. It's it's far too rough for for me specifically. I feel like the association with it is so heavy for me that I can't go back to the season, much less the actual episodes. So, no, I completely agree.
So good though. Oh my god.
Oh, it was great. Well done. Well done.
Can we talk about something
The-
else that was super well done?
Yeah, sure. What have you got, Pete?
Episode 3, or sorry, episode 2, the fight between Zhao Shi and Zhao Shi and Ling versus Ma, which last year was nominated for in my fight of the year, where the choreography on that fight I just thought was like incredible. And I also thought like we got another way with Lu Guang out of the picture for a little bit to incorporate Ling more into the story. And sort of seeing those two tag team this like I don't know what you call him, some thug, seeing them trying to like beat the shit out of this dude who's trying to well, I guess he did kill a cop, like or I guess kind of, but like
Yeah.
I thought that fight is just so well done. I guess did you guys I don't know. It like legit like was like one of the best fights I've seen in a hot minute. You guys have any thoughts on that?
I would say that all the fights, generally speaking, blended together for me, and I'd say that in like a good way. Like they were all really well choreographed. They were really all well done. I thought, but none of them particularly stood out. Like I guess I would pick that fight. Maybe I would pick the fight with the Power Rangers though instead. Honestly, as my favorite fight
That was cool too.
in the show. Like I don't know, it didn't. The action's really cool. I'm also not like a big action guy though either. I don't give a shit what happens on the screen, like in that sense too. So maybe I'm the worst person to ask this panel here, but like it was the fighting overall in the show was good, so good that's like nothing stood out from it from the rest.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with Pat's choice or Pat's words in general. Like all the fights were just good. It felt like I don't know. I'm not a big fighting like martial arts guy in general, but it felt realistic to me as a layperson how the fights were. Like it really felt like knockdown, drag out fights. Obviously, like most of the time, like the weight advantage or whatever would be more important. But I can wave that aside because it's a fucking supernatural thing. Like that fight just really exemplified the kind of like scrappy street fighting essence of all the fights in it. I was actually the person that recommended it get nominated for Fight of the Year last year. So I wholeheartedly agree with everything Pete says
Have
about
you
it.
have you guys seen The
Yeah.
Raid, the movie The Raid?
Yes, that is
I've
what it
not.
reminds me of too,
Yeah.
actually.
Where it's like a little, it's realistic, but like it's like turned up just a little bit too, I don't know, comical and like animated, and then it's like, this is perfect. Like I loved it. It reminds me of like if you watched Windbreaker this season,
Yeah.
where it's like the
Yeah.
choreography is crazy and like they're like 16-year-old kids doing like 720 windmill kicks. But it's like it's still super fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I like when it comes to link click, I'm gonna expand upon like because I agree with Pat's words. When it comes to fights in link click, it's a very high bar, and that high bar becomes the standard because they execute it so well each time, and it doesn't really stand out as much, but they're all really really good, which is kind of almost a detriment to the show a little bit for me, because it's hard for me to really enjoy well, not enjoy, but it's hard for it to really stand out in my mind compared to something like, and this is going to be really weird, level 2 that came out this season. The
I think
one
you're the
fight
only
that
one to watch that one.
I might be, but there's an episode in that show where he ends up fighting a Jin essentially, and beats the crap out of her, and then steps on her chest, like just fucking like Timberland steps on her fucking chest, and it's fucking great. And I remember that clearly, but that's mainly because it's so above and beyond a run among the rest of the fights. So that's kind of how I feel. Like it's the level 2 is not going to get any awards. This one, I can see it getting awards, but I can't make it stand out in my mind. You know what I mean?
I guess what you
Kinda.
Yeah, I said kinda.
Yeah. So yeah, like I guess another comparison to season 1, I kind of brought it up earlier. The dialogue goes from like having those like silly moments or those fun like little like quips. It happens at the very beginning and the very end of the show. I do notice like they during their like kind of like downtime moments, almost where their names Zhaoxi and Guang or Lu Guang like are bickering back and forth, like they're playful bantering, whatever. Uh, what did you guys think about the character interactions in general during the rest of the show? Like, because I felt pretty happy with them. Like from a they made sense. There was that slight level of distrust between the characters that there needed to be, or the tension that was there, and the villains I thought too were all outside of the ape like grunts, which of course is what they were supposed to be, but they annoyed the shit out of me. I was so sick of them. Like outside of that, like how do you think like because the show is very dialogue heavy, it's very like I did this because maybe bad example but like Death Note kind of where it's like oh I thought of this and did that because of this, and then the guy counters with oh but I said this
You
and
activated my trap card.
yeah, you
Yeah.
activate. Yeah, exactly. Like that kind of like dialogue happens a lot in the show. I don't ever remember being like bored to death by what was being talked about on screen, I guess. So I guess that's a long-winded way of me asking like did you feel like the show kept you engaged even during those heavy dialogue scenes or moments? Like because I felt pretty engaged. I think maybe like episode 9 or 10 there was one point where I kind of was like all right, I need a break. I need to take a minute and like absorb everything that's been said. But outside of that, it was just locking me in scene to scene.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the show does a really good job of showing like it applies pressure to like you get POVs of both sides more or less. Like the villains and our main characters, and it applies pressure to both of them in realistic ways. Like sort of like in real life, if you have two, like a criminal and the people that are working to catch him, there's random shit that could happen that could, snag both of them. Neither side ever felt like they were just impossible to catch and had plot armor or whatever. They had things that could go wrong for them. Characters that they worked with have their own individual goals and everything like that that don't always align with each other. So I think that it has a really nice, complex web of character development, especially in regards to like character mysteries, like who is Li Tianxin's friend that he saw at the fountain or whatever. That was an amazing payoff. Like, this show has a really good way of doing setups and payoffs, in my opinion. That's just necessary for a mystery to be good in general. Like, you need a setup into a payoff, and this exemplifies that.
I couldn't agree more. In my initial review of Link Click Season 2, I was talking about how in the earlier episodes, it felt like when you're spreading out the web of storylines, that it got a little clumped up and a little convoluted because there were so many different things happening in the show. Sometimes it was hard to follow, but the beauty of Link Click is they bring it all together by the end of it. And so while I did have issues with some of like the dialogue and some of the storylines in the middle, I think when it's all said and done, if you bring it all together, then it works. So kind of like Pat said, I needed a break in the middle where it was getting to be a lot. It was getting a little hard to follow, but thank God that they can really like tie up all the loose ends and execute on what they're trying to do with a mystery, because it's one of the best mysteries in the last like 10 years for anime.
I think my biggest complaint about the show, and I think it's similar to, I think I had a similar complaint in season 1. I don't remember, 8 months ago. Who knows? 10 months. Sometimes, I think it's frustrating that with the mystery that is presented in this season, a lot of the times the characters figure something out using stuff that the audience doesn't get shared with them. Like, there are a couple times, like I think a good example is when Lu Guang,
The Guang.
uh,
Just say Paul.
when Paul is sitting there and he looks his head to the left for a split second while talking to Grayson over there, Tian Chen. When he's talking to him and is like looks over, and then the other guy like they bicker. It's revealed later on, like 5 episodes down the line, that when he looked over, he saw, oh, that box had Soho Station on it or whatever, like clue on it to help them figure out where they were, what they were close to. There's just like, maybe that's a bad example because like obviously you would never have figured out where that story specifically was going, but it's things like that where the characters have clues and knowledge that we as the audience don't have. So I never really felt like I could figure out the full mystery of what was going on, like which gets frustrating when it happens just constantly throughout the show like it does. The reveals are still really cool and I was really invested in the story, but I was getting very frustrated that it was like teasing that you maybe you can figure this part out or something, and there never really was much to figure out. Do you guys feel the same way? Sorry.
I wouldn't necessarily say I feel the same way, but Pete looks like he has like an actual point to make about it, so I'm gonna let him go
Well,
instead.
I'm trying to recollect because like I do feel like maybe it's just like how the story is portrayed, but I have problems with that if it's not explained later. But if it is explained later, then I don't have a problem with it, because I like not knowing what's going to happen in the story, and I think Link Click does like a great job of that. I never know what the next page is going to be, so hiding. I think yes, it does hide information, but I also think it gives us enough to, I don't know, just like think of like our own ideas. And when I was looking up like theories for what people think from season 3, like I like that idea. Like I like the idea of like we don't know what's going to happen, and then there's still like if the story was over, then yeah, I'd be pissed. But like we're getting more content, the story's not finished yet, and like we can kind of try to put pieces together to come up with our own ideas. And I really enjoy that with like stories. And like it's why like Perfect Blue is my favorite or the best anime ever made, because like not everything is answered in that movie. Like it's up to us to try to put pieces together to decide the outcome. And I think Link Click does like a really good job at that episode by episode.
That's a good way of putting it. Pete, sorry, I was gonna say really salient point.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much said it. I don't think I can put what you guys said in any better words. So
I think that like I think that you're valid, Pat. Like nobody's trying to say that it's like an invalid way to think or whatever. I just think that maybe it's kind of a case of approaching it a different way. Like the type of person you are, you like to be like you think on stuff a lot, so you really like to be able to figure it out yourself and then be like, yeah, we came to the same conclusion. And like somebody like me or Pete, for instance, like we're kind of like, okay, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I'm trusting that they're going to take me where I need to go, basically. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I get where that like you guys specifically are coming from too. Like it's a fun ride. I just think that when it's framed like it feels like it kind of teases the audience sometimes and is like, oh, you could have seen that coming or whatever. And I never really felt like I could have seen many of the big twists at least coming, you know, beyond like again, like a good reveal, good example would be the brother posing as the sister at one point. That reveal was probably hinted at pretty well, like by the fact that he doesn't speak or anything like that. But again, it's like you can only really figure that out like 2 or 3 minutes before the actual reveal happens. And I don't know.
I wonder if one of those things where it's like, if it's your first time watching, you saw it like 2 minutes before it happened, but if you went back and watched it, you could like pick up on the clues, be like, oh, like, because I definitely know that there are definitely movies that are like that, where like it's clear as day if you do the context, but if you didn't know the context before, then that's where it gets you. It's kind of like, you know, like Ocean's 11 or something like that, where like there's so many context clues in the story, but the first time watching it, you're like, holy shit, they actually robbed the whatever, like the bank as whatever. It's like the same thing, and then you go back and watch, it's like, oh, there are so many different clues that point to that direction.
Yeah, like the Luke Guang stuff at the end. Like rewatching that, it's like, holy crap, they were hinting at it the whole time.
That even I did watch some of it back. Do we want to jump into that? Because I do think that actually kind of does tie into this.
Yeah, we could. I think that's like a primary aspect of it, or not aspect of it, example of it, I should say.
Yeah, but I guess going into it, you know, we knew Lu Guang had powers. We didn't realize, like Jay said, he's Homura from Madoka Magica. I also think that he probably has other powers that we don't know about, and he's just like chilling and like not exposing that. But like, this is like the yaoi version of Madoka. Like, he's doing all of this for his homeboy. I guess this is my theory. Zhaoxi died in a previous timeline, and
Yes.
Lu Guang is doing all of this to save Zhaoxi.
And he got his power. I believe he has Zhaoxi's power, and that's how he's able to go back. Because also the opening theme song hints at it.
Yeah, with the
it says like, "Am I destined to fall?" It's like, "Am I destined to fall like you once did for me?"
Oh,
and then it goes into the thing.
See, I thought it was like because they play the OP and then halfway through the song,
and then it going backwards as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I was like,
exactly.
oh, that's definitely
that
like
makes so much more sense
doing it
now.
on purpose. But the first time watching it, like I guess I didn't really understand how big of a twist the Lu Guang thing was, because it's like,
no, it's massive.
Yeah, it's like, I guess what's the bigger plot twist, the end of season 1 or season 2? Because I think they're
Season
both
2,
massive. Like they're
season 2 hints that at least the Lu Guang we've seen since the beginning of season 2 is just like he's doing the Homura thing, period. And like, I don't know, we got hints of it with how Li Tianchi, sorry, how she died and gave her power to Chao Ling. Like, that's what makes me think that Lu Guang has Qing Zhaoxi's power.
Yep.
It also makes me wonder if maybe Tianqin and Tianqi's mom, if maybe she had a power that she gave to her children when she died. But I feel like maybe they would have made a bigger deal out of it. It feels like something they could reveal in season 3 or something like that. I also have reason to believe, because they mentioned that they got their powers when they went on a trip together. This is a little bit off topic, but somewhat related. I think that the arc we're going to get, the London arc, I think that is going to be an origin story for how they got their powers. And that will give us a lot more to chew on in terms of theories of what Lu Guang is up to if we know the nature of their powers' origin.
That makes sense. Yeah.
It'd be nice to like know how they got them for sure.
Yeah.
It would be really nice to just know, because it's like, oh, these 2 random kids that were abused just coincidentally happen to have the powers. Like, unless there's something going on there that we don't know about. But again, that's also something that I don't think has been shown yet. That there's anyone involved other than Lu Zhao, the brother of the blonde one who dies earlier on in the season. He's the only one who's shown to have interacted with Li Tianqian. So maybe he gave him the powers, but he never met his sister, as far as I know. So, like, and if they did, they didn't show it. So I guess that's a point again where it's like, okay, if it's revealed that he gave them both powers, that would be really annoying to me, because how was I supposed to figure that out or piece that together?
I think I feel like he has powers or something.
100%.
I don't necessarily think he's the origin. He definitely has powers, actually. Look at him. He's too jerky to not have powers. What am I saying?
Like a brand right here. Yeah.
I mean, I think he's end boss. Like,
yeah. I think that he had, like, because he had knowledge of, like, the parallel timelines.
Yes.
And stuff like that as a child. So I think maybe he has a similar power to what Lu Guang has, but not related to photos necessarily. And I feel like overall the, like, timelines, like the primordial force of time is sort of a character in this as well, because it's kind of hinted at in the series that there are characters who die, but their death can be replaced by another person's death, and the timeline is fine. Whereas Qing Zhaoxi, he's someone who's fucked around and messed up the timelines quite a bit. So there's reason to believe that, like, if you think of it like a body in a way, and they're messing with the body, like, it's like there's antibodies that would make sure that Qing Zhaoxi stays dead, and he can't edit the top, like, Lu Guang can't save him.
Oh.
Maybe he's kind of a representative of that sort of thing as well, with his knowledge of the timelines. There's just, like, a literal infinite amount of ways this could go, honestly, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, I'd love to know how many times Lu Guang has done this type of thing. Because, like, Madoka, it's kind of hinted that, like, Homura has done this like 10,000 times. Like, this
it's gonna be like Haruhi, where he mentions that he's done it like 3,000 times or whatever.
I think that was in the hundreds of thousands. It's
been a minute.
Yeah, it's like there's like a actual number. It's like it was like a Anime Jeopardy question for a multiple choice. I think it's like 108,000 days or something ridiculous.
15,498 times.
Okay, a fuck ton.
Interesting. The first Google source I found said 15,532 times.
I'm looking at Wikipedia.
I'm looking at comicbookresources.com.
Nope. Do not use that website.
What the fuck?
So, Kat, you look it up and see if you get a different answer.
See what number you get. I guess I can.
Sure.
No, I guess Pat and Kat, what were your thoughts on this twist? Like, was it as big as season 1 for you guys, or no?
I think that, like, with you two's, like, discussion about what happened, it makes a lot of sense. But in a way, I feel like the twist from season 2 2 actually makes the twist from season 1 even better. And in a way, I kind of feel like that pulls more intrigue, and that the twist from season 1 expands the amount of possible options from the twist of season 2, and I'm really excited to see what happens, because I just really hope they don't do the trigger route and the origin of the powers is aliens. That's all.
Alien. Spaceships and aliens.
Spaceships.
I
and
think
aliens, bro.
I think the season 1 like twist hits harder, or cliffhanger hits harder, mainly because no one else was shown to have had powers other than say Lu Dang again, Lu Guang, Paul. No one other than Paul has the powers at this point in the
Doesn't
show.
the blonde kid have powers? Min Lu using the wheelchair?
Oh, right. The single. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot that he used. The
Or I guess
power, too.
was he like possessed by somebody who had?
He was possessed.
He was
Yeah.
possessed by the guy, but it was
Yeah.
implied that we
Yes.
thought. He was the
Yeah.
one
We
who-
thought he had
Yeah.
powers. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
He was a patsy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we thought we had beaten him, and then it's
Correct.
revealed there's more people. That's more. I guess that's the way my brain was wired
Yeah.
towards it. Yeah. Like this twist, like I mean, again, like the way that I thought, I have to say too, like even with me complaining about it, this was really well done. The setup, this cliffhanger felt more like setup for whatever direction that they want to go with the third season, versus the last one felt like it had to go directly into this season.
Sure.
If that makes sense, like it was a more direct route. So I enjoyed that more because it was more like I could make more sense of it, but I think both twists were really good too. Like I don't know, if it is just a direct Madoka / Haruhi ripoff, then all right, who cares? Cool story, right? Like why not? But I also did. I don't know. It is also still in that realm for me where similar to like psychic powers, where it's just like, oh well, surprise, they're awakened even more, and they can do this. Like, oh, so we didn't know that he could do this incredible power. We don't know everything about Lu Guang's powers just in time for it to be relevant to what's going on, And to be fair though to the show, it does hint that he knows what's going on or whatever throughout the show, like the second season, I should say. But I don't know. I was also struggling to like pick up like how far back did he actually go? Did he go back all the way to meeting him? Like what was where was the line drawn? Like, are there still rules? Like, 12 hours. I believe they used to 12 hours, right? Was their limit that they could stay inside? Like, is that applicable here? Is that why they were taking photos all the time together? Like, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of questions that I still have that if I looked for an answer to, I would be really pretty frustrated by. Because isn't what's this? It's technically an original source, right? But is there a
No,
is there a comic?
this is an original.
Yeah. The director wrote the script, so
Yeah.
which I thought was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this London arc that you're talking about? Is it just that it's been revealed that it's being published, or?
Yeah, we got an announcement of the arc. It was originally people were saying it was going to be this season, actually, but I haven't seen any updates about it. So
They did that last year with season 2, where it's like,
that's why I thought that it was going to be this season, because last year we just got it out of nowhere.
yeah, they're like, hey,
That's
by
why I
the
was
way,
so
Link
hyped
Click
for
season
it.
2 comes out in 4 days. It's like, what the fuck? It came out in like the middle of.
It came out at like midnight our time.
Yeah,
because
like summer starts in like July 1st. Let's just say for reference, it's like, oh, by the way, it's dropping like July 24th at 4 a.m. It's like, what? What?
Yeah.
So I feel like they might do that again, and I feel like maybe because they announced that we're getting content. They didn't announce whether it's like a season. Maybe this is like a movie or something along those lines to do this like possible London arc. I'd be intrigued.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I guess so that's why I was like, all right, I guess if I looked up online, no one actually knows the real answer. So it is okay to look and not be like spoiled by goddamn manga readers or something, like,
yeah.
I know, so I'm curious.
Unless the director is just a troll on Reddit or something like that.
Well, it's one of those things where it's like, we're left
Everybody in
hanging.
the fandom just calls Lu Xiao Hat Guy. That is what I voted.
That guy.
Well,
Sorry to interrupt you, Pete.
no,
Go
but
on.
there's still like mysteries with like Tian Shin and his adopted father Jin, the bad cop. Like we kind of know their relationship, but like we don't really know like their agreement with each other. Like that's still a mystery. Like there's still like a lot of I think like it does like a great job of answering enough and leaving enough open for us to like be intrigued. And I like that style of mystery storytelling.
That's valid.
I gotta say, having the show have 2 people bludgeoned in the head was a lot. Not many shows have like blunt force head trauma twice.
Yeah. A lot of times they just go for slashing damage or piercing damage.
Or I guess in
Bludgeoning
Click,
is
it's just like they punch each other all the time. There's a lot of punching. It's just like this dude just gets like bludgeoned in the head. It's like, god damn. But then in the last episode, somebody gets shot in the heart. They reopen Lu Guang's wound and shit like that. And it's like, god damn, like this kind of took it up a level with its violence. And I'm gonna say, I'll be honest, kind of a fan.
Oh, I liked it. I thought it was cool. Like I guess I should reiterate or clarify too. I don't hate violence or action in shows. I just am indifferent to good or bad, I guess.
Yeah.
Like give me that gore too though. Yeah, it was pretty it just kept up that intensity the whole time in those action scenes and those like him bleeding out or the surgery, even the surgery and stuff that they were showing was very like how they made a body shake when they shocked it. Like they showed it. They didn't just imply it or make noises. They showed a lot of it. I think the animators are incredible in this show. They really are. The background art can be a little like it's there sometimes, but otherwise it's like the detail on the characters, their faces, expressions, and actions, most importantly, are really well done. I think so. The animation on the show is very, very good.
We do final thoughts.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, I guess we're ready to roll. So yeah, let's get into our final thoughts and your score. Kat, why don't you start us off, buddy?
Man, this was when I went into this week, I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to be here because I would have to watch 2 seasons of one show in 2 weeks while also trying to finish up all of last season's shows. I'm really glad that I did. This show was worth it. It was absolutely worth the amount of information I was taking in on a daily basis and watching like 5 to 6 episodes a day along with all the other shows. And season 2 was, like I said in my opening thoughts, it never let off the gas. And it is probably in my top 50 shows that I've seen, period. Probably like 40, 41 maybe, but it's really, really good. Maybe. I don't have.
Could be 42. Could be 43.
Not 44 though. No way. It's top 43. And it ain't 44.
Yeah, something like that. It's probably in there. I need to figure it out. But like this show has from the choreography to the music to the detail of the characters, the little things that they animated to give us, even little tiny hits was well thought out and well choreographed and directed. It feels like it's been written already, like to a very well detailed degree. So there's not a lot of places that they can, not necessarily that they can mess up, but it feels like they have such a great idea of what's going to happen that we're just gonna be there for the ride no matter what. Like I'm kind of actually sad that I didn't watch it the first time with you guys. But yeah, I really enjoyed this show. This show is a 9 for me.
9 out of 10. All right, Pete, what about you?
Yep, love Link Click, love everything that it does with it. I love the shift of the tone, even though it was heavy. I thoroughly enjoyed it. is enough the mystery where I said before, it answers enough questions for me, but leaves enough stuff open ended to have the discourse on the theories of season 3. And like, I'm really intrigued to see what Guang saw on his main timeline to make him go through all of this and stuff like that. Just like it intrigues me so much. I think this is on par with season 1. I think I had some issues in the middle of it, but it answered all the questions I was looking answers for, and just a fantastic job of like animations and dialogue and voice acting. Shout out to the OP and ED, which were just fantastic. Love Link Click, can't wait for more. 9 out of 10.
Hey, Jay, what about you?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with both things that both Kat and Peter. I think that the animation in this is top notch. It has some of the best fight scenes that you'll see in anything. The writing is just fantastic. Knowing that the director is also the writer of the script is like, wow, dude, like you're incredible, and I understand why they're letting you handle all of this. Music, fantastic. OP and ED are both bangers. Soundtrack itself is good and well integrated into the show itself. Like it feels very natural, whereas like, some other shows it can feel just like, oh, they've got some like stock music here or whatever. Characters, they're fantastic still. I really enjoyed just watching them like, you know, click together basically. Like the character interactions between everybody were just fantastic. I don't know a ton about like Chinese voice acting or anything, but I really enjoyed like watching it as a whole. Like I think that this would be a kind of a good way to get into like donghwa in general by looking into like some of the voice actors and staff on this, because Billy does do quite a bit from what I understand. And yeah, overall, I think that I gave this a 9.6 on any list, but I don't think I'm quite comfortable giving it a 10 here, so it's a 9 for me.
All right, sweet. And yeah, I really like the show. I think the only thing holding me, I think I liked it more than season 1 as well, just because it did get more serious. And like, while it was missing some of that like fun charm of season 1, it filled it back in with a really good main story and made it worth the ride. I think it built more towards like what we talked about. I think Kat referenced it earlier, how we were all sitting here like, oh, well, we have to wait for season 2 to really like kick in. Before, no way, that wasn't Kat, it was probably Peter, because Kat didn't see the first time. Like we have to wait for season 2 to really kick in before we can decide if season 1 was really good or like as good as we thought it would be or was. So I think it's delivered on that so far. Again, now we'll have to wait for season 3 to decide if it's even more like continuing to deliver on that level. But yeah, other than my main complaint being the frustrations with the mysteries and some of the things like characters knowing more than we do and then expect, yeah, like that kind of thing. I really enjoyed my time with the show. Can't wait for more. 9 out of 10 for me. So
Wow.
when I do some quick maths here, some very hard averaging here between all of our scores, I believe this show averages out to a 9.0.
Ooh, joins the 9 club.
Yep.
I think that's like
Can someone check my math on that, please?
you are
I
correct.
think you're right.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thanks,
How many
guys.
shows do we have at a 9? I think it's like 4 or 5.
Kids on the Slope and Tokyo Godfathers are both 9s.
Yep, so
Exactly.
it joins the ranks of Kids on the Slope, Tokyo Godfathers, The Disappearance of Haruhi Suzumiya, Millennium Actress, and Odd Taxi.
I was about to say Odd Taxi's definitely on too. Yeah. So yeah, there you go. That is our discussion on Link Click, which by the way, it has an 8.63 on Mal, although not that many users have rated it. I think
Super
that makes sense for the
underrated.
score. Yeah, I don't know. I'm like somewhere in that like.
I mean
8.5 to
underrated
9
as
range.
underrated as in like it's legitimately just not enough people have watched it and are rating it. Not necessarily like you get me.
No, yeah, I got you. I mean, it's not on Crunchyroll either, though, right? So
Yeah,
like
it is.
that.
Oh,
I
it
think that
is.
It is.
Yeah.
That's where I watched it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's where I watched it too.
Wait.
I was about to say Pat telling on himself.
I was testing you guys. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right. That wraps up our. I was just gonna use that as an excuse for why it hasn't reached the masses. Because you would think it. If it's good, if something's good, it will get through, right? And as long as it's available to people. And I'm surprised that it's not as popular. Again, I guess people just see it and go, "Oh, that's not anime," and then don't watch it. But I don't know. But yeah, that wraps up our discussion on Link Click Season 2. Let's talk about how voting went this week. So we had lots and lots of votes that I had to tally this time. God bless Miles doing something else somehow more important than whatever this
Miles is
that we
touching
do.
grass.
Yeah,
Wow, gross.
he is touching grass in Japan as we speak, actually. So we did get his vote in. And yeah, in third place with a total of 15 points and some legacy points, it is Princess Principal. In second place with 20 points and a half legacy point, it is Gundam.
Mm.
And in first place, we're going to the glue factory. Uma Musume wins because of the whopping 4 total points. So a first and third place vote it gets from 8 legacy points. It has finally happened. We are going to go watch some horse girls.
I need a victory speech.
No.
We have fought.
Recorded separately.
The stable has fought and fought and fought and trot and trot and trot, and we got to the finish line, baby. This was almost a year of hard work, and we got there. The stable, I see you. I recognize you. I love you. We did it. We did it.
Okay. Yeah. Congrats, you guys.
Halfway there. It's not a true W until you get season 2. Anyway.
No, this is a dub. This is a fucking dub. You're not taking this away from me. Oh, I'm gonna take my shirt off.
Pyrrhic victory at best.
Oh no, this is the biggest dub since I don't know when. Since Link Click won the first time. Yeah.
Yeah, since Link Click Season 1. There you go.
It's Blue Lock. Yeah.
Since Blue Lock, yes.
Good call back there, Kat. So yeah, that did.
I
just
get
happen.
to nominate something new.
I was about to say. So your first
season 2.
Nope.
This is.
I'm gonna nominate an actual show this time.
An actual show. Okay, good. All right. Well, Kat, why don't you start us off with nominations? Because God, fucking, what are we gonna do? This is for July 29th, so I guess I don't know. Anything. Let's just have fun. What do you want to watch? Buddy?
I want to watch motherfucking Ghost.
MF Ghost. There we go, baby. All right. Let me put that in. That's the one from 2023. Wow, that's new? I thought that was old. But anyways,
last year, yeah.
All right. Last year is last year. All right, there you go. Pete, what are you nominating instead of Horse Girls?
Yeah, so this was a show that was on my radar to actually start last season, but it kind of got some bad press on the first couple episodes, but I think it ended up finishing really strong. It has some of the best Sakuga from last season that like nobody watched. I'm going to nominate Oblivion Battery.
Oh, okay. Jesus. I thought you were going to nominate the fucking Titty Knees show.
The what?
The Titty Knees show.
Titty?
The kid who has titty knees?
The Seventh Prince, I think.
Yeah, Seventh Prince.
Why the fuck would no?
I don't know.
What is happening right
Did
now?
I want my show to get 0 votes? I'm not going to nominate that.
Somebody will probably vote for it.
Yeah, it's a baseball show. Yeah, but I guess it deals with like real shit at the same time. I don't know. People, it's like people our age love it, and then like the kids hate it. So I think it'd be a really fun show to check out.
Fair enough. All right, Jay, what about you? What have you got?
I'm gonna go ahead and nominate Attack on Titan season 3 because a horse dies in the 4th episode, if I recall correctly.
You know what? We normally don't allow seasonal or seasons that we haven't watched the first few seasons for, but this time I'll allow it. So Attack on
I think a
Titan.
horse side's in the second half of season 1 as well.
Oh,
does.
wow.
Spoilers, Jesus,
Yeah,
man.
spoilers, man.
My
Jesus. But no, for real. You go first, Pat. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'm not gonna.
I
give you a lot
wasn't
of
sure
time
if we were going to be. I wasn't sure if we were going to be fighting against the stable again this week. So
No, fair enough. I mean, I would really like it if you nominated Gundam again, personally. But I am because it did. So those two.
Why don't you nominate Gundam again?
Because I'm nominating Princess Principal again. Another legacy
Oh my
point.
God.
And I it gets votes. It gets votes every week. It's fun. I can't wait to go back to the glory days of Watch Club. You
Our
know,
second
I miss the
episode.
old. I miss the old Watch Club.
Yeah, let's get Happy. Let's get Smiley. Let's get Tyler
least
was
that's
on the
something in
first
the
episode.
Discord.
Let's get Tyler
Yeah.
back.
Let's get the gang back
Let's get the
together
whole
for some
gang.
fucking spy girls doing spy shit, man. That'd be a lot of
Yeah.
fun. So yes, Princess Principal is what I'm nominating. So Jay, I guess I did buy you 30 seconds with that little banter there. What have you got now?
I'm going to nominate Mob Psycho.
Ooh.
Oh.
Mob Psycho.
Interesting.
He knows that I have to vote for
Oh,
it.
I
so
wonder
he's
if I'm
gonna put it
biased
in.
or anything
There you
about
go.
that show. I wonder what would give that away.
Right.
For the audio listener fans, I have a Mob Psycho tattoo on my arm.
There we go. Vote. All right. Things are posted. So yeah, there we go. Those are what we're nominating to watch. Holy shit, I can't believe we're watching Uma Musume
I'm gonna start
finally.
tonight, baby. I'm so excited. I'm gonna like, should I watch House of the Dragon then Uma Musume, or Uma Musume then House of the Dragon?
Probably the second.
I'm pretty sure, all memes aside, I'm pretty sure a horse does die in this week's episode of House of the Dragon.
We'll watch House of the Dragon first then.
Yeah, so just
Right. Well, that wraps up our
a lot
watch
of
club.
livestock death in that show.
Yeah, a lot of it. Yes. But yeah, so thank you guys for listening to Watch Club, and that wraps us up. So Pete, why don't you take it away?
Yes, if you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you're watching or listening to us on. Next week is going to be first impressions of the summer season. So I'm going to be talking Nokotan. I'm going to be talking Alia hides her feeling in Russian. I'll be talking shows about like that. Otherwise, if you are here for Watch Club, and I know everybody will be, it's the monument event everybody's been waiting for. In 2 weeks, we will be watching Uma Musume Pretty Derby Season 1. Thanks, and we'll see you next time. Peace!
Bye-bye!